Hello my friends and enemies alike, hope you're as good as can be in these dark times. I only have a small channel and not many subscribers, however tiny, a voice nonetheless, showing that you can stand up to these all-powerful bullies and come out ahead even if their heads are buried constantly in the sand. This will be my 100th video with 31 of those showing the abuse of the GSA way, and I am indeed excited to be sharing this with you. A nice little win for tenants and taxpayers alike against a relentless titan with very deep pockets and huge resources at Ruth Cook's fingertips. GreenSquareAccord, or rather Ruth Cook CEO, have been bullying and abusing me and lately threatening me with eviction for non-payment of rent, which is untrue. My rent is up to date and was paid again on the 30th of April 2026 and their own internal records prove it. I just refused to pay their abusive service charges, and my complaint was upheld twice, well their version of it at least, that I also rejected twice. Before we get to the juicy parts, I have to mention the Trials of Mrs. Tranter, a board game featured around the handling of complaints, which cost God knows how much to produce. Good noise-cancelling headphones and blindfolds are expensive these days. Dice are quite cheap to be fair. GreenSquareAccord actually won second place for this board game that is meant to teach their operatives empathy when dealing with complaints. You have to stand back in awe of the propaganda pumped out to the masses. GSA paid fleeced tenants and taxpayers' money to a company for an expensive, exclusive black tie champagne celebrating event so they could be awarded with a bit of shitty plastic whilst fine dining at an expensive table that we all paid for, and all based on Steve Hayes' innovation of a board game on dealing with complaints with compassion. You could not make it up unless you have had the practice, maybe a first failed attempt by any chance, Steve. And I quote, deepens empathy for customers and it's helping colleagues understand the impact of their work on others. What a crock of shit. Go tell that to all your victims on Trustpilot, and let them know that they're still thriving at home, but only if GreenSquareAccord roll a 6 or an 8. I bet Hasbro, the makers of Monopoly, are shitting themselves. And there you have it in black and white, folks. GreenSquareAccord having to remove the bare minimum of service charges for the whole complex, for services that have been forced to admit that they failed to maintain or provide. Still a load of misdirecting bullshit. It all seems very desperate to me, but it's a start, and a win is a win, and this is definitely a small victory for tenants and taxpayers. However, unfortunately for Ruth Cook CEO, I can read between the lines, but one constant is true. GreenSquareAccord profited for years from this practice, then spared no expense with Ruth Cook's authorized vendetta, with orders to punish and then silence me. This is the GSA way. GreenSquareAccord will not dare mention the word service charge abuse, just nice soft cuddly language like confusion, oversight and incorrect service charges, but only for the years 25-26 and into 2027, which Melissa Smith herself identified and then rectified. With a bit of magic applied to Melissa Smith's report, then abracadabra, it's all rectified according to this operative crafted controlled narrative, with a nice little potion of forgetfulness attached for me to ingest. Here's what I think of GreenSquareAccord operatives Melissa Smith's report. The fucking audacity, she actually thanked me for my patience in a report that I had no idea that was being conducted until it was thrust upon me, and of course absolutely nothing to do with the complaints they have just upheld twice at both stages, and about service charge abuse at this complex and the abuse of me for daring to question it. Then let's not forget the misleading of her MP, which was also upheld, just pure coincidence of course. Hear what GreenSquareAccord operative Melissa Smith definition of the word rectified is in relation to the GSA way. Forgive the repeated use of Melissa Smith's words, but they are her words, not mine. Gates still broken and wide open for all. Waste management that Melissa Smith claims has now been rectified and reportioned across the scheme. Finally some truth, for it is just that, a scheme and one concocted by GreenSquareAccord for maximum profit, and directed at taxpayers and tenants who are being conned into paying Ruth Cook's £300,000 a year salary. It's worse now than it ever was, and it's now May 2026. Waste management again labeled as rectified. Also rectified, nothing to see here. This has actually been rectified. Only took me a year to get them to remove their own dump waste. Not to worry, the spot was soon filled up. And what do you think the reason is for the escalation of excessive dumping is, and more importantly, who's responsible when, according to Melissa Smith, all this has been, you guessed it, rectified? Not only has it not been rectified, but it's actually been exacerbated by GreenSquareAccord themselves. GreenSquareAccord operatives working around the corner. This will become relevant shortly. The bottom gate has always been padlocked to save money on repairs, so residents have to walk all the way round when it was designed to be in use, but that costs money to repair. So fuck the tenants, they can just go around and pay a service charge fee for the privilege. This is the way. And this is the reason. The utter contempt Ruth Cook has for her tenants as head honcho is staggering. Just so they did not have to walk all the way around to reach the drain, like the tenants are forced to do every day to go into town, they removed the huge chain, then left it off, leaving both gates wide open and double the access for anyone to dump stuff right in front of their cameras that are blind to anything that threatens their profit. Rectified my ass. Hence Melissa Smith's complaint in transit. They have not yet received or signed for, that they will either ignore or attempt to control with even more lies and misdirection. I do not care either way. It's now attached to my evidence bundle. I have what I need. But GreenSquareAccord forced to admit service charge abuse is worthy of my 100th video, even if they have labeled it an oversight. Thank you for listening. Be safe wherever you may be and enjoy your week.